Julien Tella. Yeah, there is another guy. Okay, since we make this talk short, I will speak alone. So the goal of this, So the goal of this talk is to raise awareness for SMW in education. Okay, for research it has been done, but in some other places people don't know about it. I also would like to find other people who are interested in education. Then I would like to show what we have done so far. We are absolute beginners. We started in July. I'm not a computer person, although I can read lines of code. Same for my colleague. We are power users. Oh yeah, okay, I have to learn about this. I also would like to get some advice from you, and we also plan to create a educational track at wikis in Berlin next year. So if you're interested in submitting a paper there, please do. So there is potential. Wikis in education and research are used in many different ways, so I'm not going to go into the details. Fortunately, I wrote the paper actually. There's not just a talk, so you can go and read some stuff. The educational uses are very diverse. So some people use wikis to create textbooks. Others do all the opposite. They use it, for instance, just for student writing activities. Students have to do papers, for instance, but it's also being used in sort of project-oriented designs, inquiry learning, where sort of students gradually put in information, what they want to do, stuff they found, or document observations, and then sort of answer questions. So there's a huge diversity. The same is true in research. People do data management, they use it for pre-publishing, some even for analyzing data, and there are more use cases, as you have seen in various other talks. And the funny thing, actually, there is sort of also, there are cases in between, like students in inquiry learning have to document cases, and lots of talks here actually showed how researchers document cases. There is note-taking. And there is this interesting thing also about project management in modern education, not the MOOC kind of stuff, which has been invented in the 60s. You actually would like to implement workflows for students so that they actually work a little bit more like in a company than as sort of stupid intakers of TV sort of education. And workflows would be nice to have. Okay, guys before said that too. And there are some hurdles, of course. There is the commons problem. People have trouble using wikis. You may be surprised by that. There's this discourse that the young generation knows how to use computers. No, the young generation knows how to do networking, how to share digital artifacts, but definitely not how to use a word processor. They don't know how to do that. They don't know how to use a wiki. They won't be able to do any sort of technical drawing. They can't do data analysis with SPSS. Basically, there is illiteracy out there, okay? So there is some hurdle. And my educational technology students, okay, I don't have problems with these, but as soon as I go and, let's say, teach a class to education students, not only can't they use a wiki, or they have trouble using a wiki, but it's also that they are afraid of computers. They're afraid of working together. And then finally, what all people share, even people in computer science, they don't understand hypertext. Hypertext is not something that's in our culture. It's a very recent concept, has been invented in the 1950s, but people do not understand that they should link information. Okay? When people use a wiki, they think about the page. Unless it's you guys, okay? But you're a minority, if I may say so. And a difficult issue is also changing work by others. I think you already pointed that out, okay? If there is something that has been written by someone else, maybe people would just add stuff, but not really change it. And a big issue is also tracking wiki activity. If I am a teacher and I have a class that writes sort of all over the wiki, how am I going to know what's going on? It's a really difficult problem. And there's some opportunities for SMW, improved task collaboration. I'll show you an example. improve usability. So if people cannot learn wiki syntax, they definitely know how to use, they definitely are able to use forms. Wiki collaboration is a problem that people actually tend to work on their class and not look at what others do. Data management, activities management. So I'll explain these with 2 examples. So the main tools we are using in what we started doing, I repeat, we are beginners, okay, are semantic forms. So actually I would like to have some applause for Yaron. Yeah, please clap your hands. Of course, other people here deserve some hand clapping too, but basically that's what I mostly use. So, semantic result formats. Okay, you can give some applause to the other one here on here, just in front. Okay. So far, we got 2 serious projects. So our situation is the following: we have about 5 or 6 wikis, and two are important. And the 2 important ones, we use them both for research and education. So one research project is a citizen science related research project. We got some money, actually quite a lot, to study how people learn doing citizen science. And the small part of this is to create an inventory of interesting citizen science projects. Okay, simple sort of side project, but nevertheless I decided that we should use the MediaWiki for it, and Julien is actually implementing this, so I can show you what it does. It's a simple use of, well, the trouble is I don't know how to use this full screen thing, but yeah, just let me try again, okay? But if it doesn't want to connect, then I'm out of luck. I wanted to give you sort of a live demo. No, someone is against me. Do you have the network out there? Why don't I have it? Let's say. Yeah. But can a network go away while I walk? No. Okay. Well, so I just go on with my talk. Maybe it will be there. So, yeah. So basically, it's just a bunch of huge forms. So the problems we have here is actually how to make these forms usable. Okay, there are lots of entries, maybe 100 properties in these forms. So I don't know we don't know exactly how to handle this. Maybe let people edit partial forms, split the forms over tabs and stuff. Okay, that's something that we could figure out. Then I have actually an interesting question for you. There is the Wikipedia approach. Wikipedians are a bit naive about the world, and they think there is a single truth. Okay, but as you all know, in real life, if you have 4 or 5 people looking at the same objects, you may have 5 different sort of values. Okay, so what I actually would like to have is wiki votes in semantic form values. That would be a nice feature to have, so that that people would not have to fill in 10 extremely long forms, but could just say, look, this value, I think this is my opinion, and that value would be the opinion of someone else, and that we could compute, for instance, means if the values would be numerical or whatever, or a count or something. That would be a really cool addition. The other thing, that's a sort of research project. The other thing is I would actually like to improve wiki-based classes. And this is a new course I was supposed to organize. It's about theoretical sort of foundations of educational technology. In other words, we want our students to know a little bit more about psychology and education because we don't teach it ourselves. Okay, and since we don't want to teach that class, okay, we sort of have a MOOC-ish kind of solutions. people will just do some self-learning. Nevertheless, I would like to make this self-learning relatively interesting, and let's see if the thing is back. This is disgusting. I mean, I was sitting over there, and over there it worked. Or maybe someone, I don't know. There's some sabotage there. Usually our network is reliable. Okay, I can't show it. Well, that happens. Okay, so I'll try to explain what we do. Okay, so basically, when a student reads a content page, okay, the student can sort of click on a button, fill in a form, and then there is a small sort of, I can use the mouse, there's a small display widget that would actually show some of the answers, and some stuff is shown here. Okay, that's just the technical thing. Okay, and so the question actually we had is where to put this information, because as you know, this guy before asked where to put data, and if you have several users that can annotate many pages, you cannot put the information with the user page or with the annotated page. You have to put the information somewhere else. So I just put the information in some extra namespace and get it back from there. Okay, that works fairly well. So actually, we can do annotation with semantic forms. Semantic forms wasn't meant to do that, but it sort of works, which is nice to know. I mean, there's still some open issues. For instance, you know, if we have now all these little pages over there, one user annotating one page, so there's many pages per user, many pages per page, and it's always the same page. So we need to aggregate this stuff at some point to build general cockpits. So the idea is not just to have some feedback within the page, but also to provide each learner with feedback on his own performance on his own page. Okay? So basically, we ask the learner to report what he thinks, what he feels about the page, what he's doing, whether he's doing a project, and that information we would like to pull together in various ways in order to make the learning experience more interesting. Now I got 2 minutes left, no problem for that. This is the last slide. So learning SMW, okay, since we started this July, I still remember. The first hill to climb wasn't too hard. I mean, the documentation is not exactly glorious, but good enough, okay? What I actually miss more is sort of feedback when something goes wrong. You know, sometimes results don't display and you don't know exactly why, or sometimes you can create properties that are absolutely illegal. You know, system doesn't complain really, but they sit there and it's sort of, sometimes you just don't know why something is not working. So it would be good to have some more sort of debugging tools or whatever. I mean, that are good enough for end users. And I found lacking documentation for more advanced stuff. Like simple asks is easy, but if you want to have sort of chains of asks and so forth, you know, it's not easy to find the information. And of course, since we just got started, we have lots of plans, okay? We want to do more catalogs, not just citizen science, but I got loads of catalogs in the same wiki, okay? And also support project-based learning and other pedagogies. Okay, I'm done. Yeah, you said it.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Are there any questions? And during questions is asking, please, everyone who has lighting talks, come here. Yeah, and?
Daniel, I've been talking to people from the university for using Semantic Media Wiki, but they and I also thought that it might be used for projects by students, but then they said, well, no, that can be done because then the students would be able to see each other's projects and each other's results.
Yeah, I mean, this is the same question, you know, that the same issue as plagiarism and stuff. I mean, I just would give the advice that your teachers actually should do a little bit of thinking, and the solution is very simple. You give different projects to different students, that's one, and two, you require students to help each other, because that's what you do later in life. You know, when you go to a company and you have other people working on similar projects, you expect one person helping others. So actually, they got it wrong. They're just bad teachers. I mean,
Thanks.
that's all I can say. There is some electricity in the air, right? Okay, Yuri, they are waiting, I think.
yeah,